All right. Happy Saturday, everyone. We're live. I got Curtis, PE turned Ari, and John, Deconstructing Dream Share. So, welcome, fellas.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a
Good to
while.
see you again, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. Tired of just messing up with you on text messages. So, this is good. Hold on. Let me go live on Instagram real fast. There we go. All right. It's been a while. As everyone knows, I was in North Carolina for 3 to 4 weeks. A lot of fun, but catching up. And John messaged me with a topic that's been kind of on his mind, I think. So he kind of wanted to talk about it. And you want to kind of talk about the topic you want to discuss is kind of about retirement plans and how financial advisors haven't really changed their message or advice, right?
Absolutely. The information, even though times change quite dramatically, seems to be the same thing every time I talk to somebody. But you know, I haven't spoken to a financial advisor in a while now. So if anybody's got some more current information from a financial advisor, that'd be great to hear before we even start.
Oh, I think that's throwing it your way, Curtis, because actually, when I sent Curtis this topic, he actually said, "Hey, what a coincidence. I'm actually going to be speaking to a financial advisor the other day." So, how did that go? Or what advice did she recommend for you?
Yeah, so our district provides these options that of people that you can talk to talk about your pension plan and retirement and like loan forgiveness. So I was like, okay, let me just hear what they have to say. And um, in in the notes part, you could put the things that you were interested in or things you already have set up outside of the teacher stuff. And when I put the real estate down, the guy, I was expecting some pushback, like, oh, like real estate's not safe or whatever, but he was actually pretty open to hearing about it and open to hearing how I plan to retire earlier. Now he did tell me, he's like, hey, if you do want to do that, just know the pension plan isn't really set up for you to pull it out early. So he was kind of talking me through like, this is what you can do. If you do like a 403b, then you can move things over. So at least the guy that I got, he was pretty open to getting more creative and not just counting on like the pension.
And this was the first time that you spoke with this advisor, or you've
Yeah,
been working with? Okay.
yeah, yep, the very first time.
All right. So, John, does that kind of go with the mindset that you was given 40 years ago when maybe you talked to a financial advisor also?
Well, um, at the base, we actually have somebody come in, and I usually take the class on retirement. And it seems like every time I hear from somebody talking about retirement or, even in just investing in itself, most people want to just talk about stocks, whether it's mutual funds, whether it's bonds, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of more about your how old you are with your risk ratios for and what kind of timeline you're looking at. But it's always about stocks, and it just made me kind of think about the podcast that Dion does about LLCs and how the people that are giving you that advice are the ones that are making the money off of it, because if you've got a financial advisor, they want to manage your portfolio of stocks and they make money whether you make money or not. So I started doing a little research, uh, you know because of the fact that I got divorced twice and basically got set back to worse than zero with having to do a bankruptcy and having the IRS come after me for some money that my ex said that we could claim some kids, but she also let the father claim the kids. So when we got divorced, of course, the IRS came after me. So I got to pay that money back as well.
Wait, how
Needless
long?
to
You got married twice? Someone married you? You found two people to marry you?
Well, I might be decent at getting married, but I'm also pretty good at getting rid of them.
Uh,
I
let's
actually
see.
have a very wonderful wife now, but I've had some challenges, that's for sure. But probably about 5, 6 years ago, I started getting more focused on this kind of stuff, and started listening to Dave Ramsey. And I'm patting myself on the back, thinking I'm doing awesome because he's got those 7 baby steps, and I was already up to the one where you're paying off your mortgage, and there's only one step after that. So I'm patting myself on the back, thinking I'm doing awesome, and after about a year, 2 years of doing that, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not making any gains here. Yeah, I might be paying off some mortgage, but I only had a 3% interest rate. That's not really doing me much good.
Yeah.
So I
You kind of look like Dave Ramsey.
I
I
think
wasn't
Dave
gonna
has
say
more hair
that.
than I do.
You actually do. I never thought about that. But I think, for me and John, we probably, John's older than me, but we've probably in that same era, retirement plans, kind of same blueprint. Curtis, you're much younger than us. So, you're like, but it sounds like you're being pushed that same kind of blueprint, put money in your retirement accounts, plan to work 40 years, whatever at that time it might be more, but maybe right now they're saying you need 2 million saved up to retire. I mean, does when you speak to these financial advisors, what's going through your head? Like, what are you like in your head? Like, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to have me do? Like Ike here in the comments says, so he's in the fire department. He says his advisor keeps telling him to put money into his deferred comp plan, right? So in the back of your mind, like, what are you thinking when you're talking to this advisor?
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to see where they would take the conversation without me like being too skeptical. I was like, okay, I'm gonna let them get through their spiel, and then I'm gonna poke a little bit. And so what was interesting though is that when he was talking about the teacher, like the pension plan, he made sure to make sure it was very clear. This is not to. He actually said not financially enough to cover your full retirement. So you need something else. Now, the something else that he went down was like a 401k or a 403b or something like that. So it's still kind of more on that stock side or the mutual fund side. But I thought it was very interesting that he made it very clear that the teacher pension plan is not enough. Like he had these interesting graphs to show like if you only did the pension and inflation continues to go up, well then the pension plan's going to keep you down here. So it's not going to really work as inflation goes up, which I thought was very helpful because for people that are new or maybe not as financially um, educated may think, oh, the pension plan is enough when it's definitely not.
And the pension plan, your advisor is not making anything, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So that's probably why they're recommending some sort of other uh, account to put the money in, like John was talking about, who's making the money, right?
Mhm.
So that's a great point. So John, I mean, what else did you research, or what else did you find when going down this rabbit hole of like you said, the financial advisors are still pushing out this same blueprint as they were 40 years ago?
Well, when I started doing some research, I found that only 50%, 56% of workers even have access to a retirement plan. And out of that 56%, only 19% of adults are saying that they even participate in the retirement plan. So, that's a pretty low number. And I was pretty shocked to see that low of numbers. But when you start looking at what's going on with them, over 40% of that 19% that say they have a retirement plan, they're going to cash those out when they're changing jobs, taking that 10% penalty for the early withdrawal. because in the past it was common practice to stay with a company for a long time, and that created excellent stability for your family. But in today's market, it's the advice given is to change jobs often, usually within 2 to 4 years, because it's going to increase your pay dramatically over your lifetime. So with less time in the position, it's going to increase the likelihood of early withdrawals, because there's less penalty when you have a small balance on there. So it doesn't really mean as much to you. So, when people are finding they need that money over, some long time in the future, date for their retirement, they're going to use it for financial hardships, medical repairs, transportation, to avoid foreclosures and evictions, or maybe do some educational type of expenses. So when I started looking into this stuff, the stock market, I think is, everyone can kind of agree that its return is somewhere in the 8 to 12%, depending on what type of research you're doing, where you're getting that information from. But that's dollar for dollar. So if you invest $100,000 into the stock market, you're going to get about $8,000 to $12,000 back, right? In real estate, the appreciation numbers nationally are roughly about 4%. So that looks like a lot less when you're talking percentage, but when you're using leverage like your mortgage, you're doing $100,000 down payment on a national average of about $400,000 house. So that's going to get you $16,000 in return. So the actual money is a higher amount, but then you got to add in that you're going to get some cash flow, which is anywhere, your first year should be $100 to $400 a month, right? So even if you just go $200 a month, that's another $2,400 a year, and that's going to put you up at $18,400. You're going to have a tenant that's going to be paying down your mortgage. You're going to be making some cash flow, so you're going to lower your DTI, which makes you a safer bet for banking to be able to get more loans. And you've also got the chance to write off your expenses on your taxes and get depreciation on your taxes. So it's pretty clear that, when you're dealing with the financial advisors, how they, are going to make money off of your retirement accounts because they're managing the account. I would much rather bet on myself to be able to manage real estate and make much better returns. Now, with my short timeline of when I'd like to retire, because, obviously I've made some pretty good mistakes with marriages and what have you. I, have lost 2 retirement accounts, and, most people cashing them out anyway, even if they have them. I thought that, I would go into the short-term rental arena because it's just a higher return. Now, it's also a higher risk, but last year for my first year doing this, I made a little over $1,000 a month in cash flow doing the short-term rental. Now, it wasn't easy, and it was a crap ton of work, and it was super stressful, but I made a much better return on that money to be able to do it. And this particular property has always been a long-term play. I'm still working on the city, trying to get an ADU going in there. And as soon as I make an ADU downstairs and be able to get that up and running as a short-term rental as well, that's probably going to put me at about another $25,000 a year, and there will be very little expenses because the upstairs is already paying for everything. So, you got the high risk, but you get the higher reward as well when you're betting on yourself. So, I just don't have time for compound interest to work for me in a stock market type scenario. So I've got to take a little bit bigger risks and bet on myself to work harder than anyone around me, and constantly watching the YouTube videos to get the information on the best ways to manage the tech, use a manager, use all the tools possible out there to turn a profit and make things pretty good. And even this month alone, um, my expenses will be roughly $4,200 a month. And I just got a booking right before the podcast here that puts me at 73% occupancy and about 6,200 in revenue. So I'm probably going to make a couple grand this month on the short-term rental.
Cool. Yeah, we can. Like I said, I think I forgot to. If anyone's out there, if they can get John's channel, if they can put it in the chat. So if you haven't subscribed yet, we're still trying. What are you at now? We're trying. Have you hit 50 yet? I forget.
No, I think I'm at like 36 if I
Okay.
remember right.
Yes, I put Curtis's channel. What are you at now? Subscriber count, Curtis.
Maybe like 115-ish.
All right, cool. So,
Oh, you're killing me.
Yeah. So we got everyone here. We got Hyder, Flavio, Jason C, BuzzTune tuning in. Frank, old guy's here. We got Andy in Ohio. He's doing some work on his rental while he's listening. So thanks, man. Dylan's here. Matt Mojo Mindset. I said Ike's here, but Matt also says, yeah, great breakdown. Of course, he says Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is my new thing. So shout out to Buc-ee's gas station or convenience store, whatever you want to call it. Cynthia Contreras is stopping by from X.
Hey, Cynthia.
Yeah, so Matt actually says, when you're talking with a financial advisor, are they a RIA bound to be a fiduciary in your best interest, not making sales commission on where you invest your money? So do you know that about who you spoke with, Curtis? Did that ever come up?
It did not, because he's not necessarily like a financial, like a RIA. He is a retirement person that works for the school, like the districts, that kind of tailors his advice to what the district offers and all of that stuff. So I don't think he had that title.
I was similar to Curtis with the people I was speaking to. They were specifically about the base and what kind of retirement programs and stuff we had there.
Were you in the Army, Air Force? What?
I work at an Army base.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He wears Crocs at work too.
Oh.
Crocs would definitely not be allowed at the base.
Let's see. Oh, we got Jim stopping by, the Grumpy Contractor. So he just started his YouTube channel also. He has not done any videos, and shoots, I don't have it also too. But if anyone doesn't know, Ray has come out with his YouTube channel, What Pros Do, and he actually put a good he did his own video or Facebook or Instagram. So he's showing off already. So he put a nice intro out there. So go check it out. Go subscribe.
Thank you, BuzzTune.
Yep. So BuzzTune put John's channel in the chat. So if anyone hasn't, please go subscribe. I know most of us probably here listening, tuning in, probably real estate maybe is our primary path that we're trying to do. And, for a lot of us, it probably seems like, I think Matt, after your breakdown, John, Matt says he agrees, all these different ways to build wealth through real estate. And so it seems so obvious to a lot of us, right, that real estate is probably the best way to do it, maybe. But why do you think so many people don't want to do it or aren't doing it? I mean, what is your guys' thoughts on that?
Oh, it's very clear. They think there's a risk. It's very high. They think it's very high risk. Anytime it comes up at work, they always like, oh, so what if the tenant doesn't pay, or you have to fix this or fix that? And while those are all reasonable concerns, especially here in Washington where the landlord laws aren't so great, I think the alternative is just as bad, of having to work until you're 65. And then even the guy that I met with this morning said, hey, there's some people, because they only do the pension plan, they don't have anything else. There's sometimes they retire, then have to come back because it wasn't enough. So to me, I'm like, well, it's worth that risk.
I, uh, I agree with everything Curtis was saying there. And to add to that, um, when you're dealing with a retirement program at work, it's basically the easy button because you never see the money. It just goes in every paycheck. You get used to what your budgets are and what you can spend and what have you without that extra money. And hopefully people would use whatever gains they make per year, whatever raise they get, and put a couple percent more into their retirement and maybe a couple percent into their pocket or whatever. But they just don't seem to really do that. It's so many of them are cashing the stuff out. When they hit 2 to 4 years, they're changing jobs, and it just hasn't built enough. So it's only $20,000, $40,000 or whatever. They just cash that out, and they can go buy a car or go on vacation or do whatever they want to do with the money. And it's not that big a hit when they get that 10% penalty on it. So
Yeah, and for us, some of the penalties that he was talking about, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so high. Like one penalty is like 40 to 60%, depending on how soon you pull it out. And I was just like, this is wild. Now, he was helpful in the fact that he said there are ways if you're going to plan ahead that you can avoid the penalties, but not everyone knows to even ask those questions.
well, I don't know if people are just more interested in the now than planning for the future. And I'm just as guilty of that as anybody. Obviously, I haven't done the best effective planning for the future. Having lost pretty much everything a couple of times, but definitely on track now, and with the shorter timeline, pushing hard where we get a pension at the base, the life, the health insurance that we will have for myself and my wife for the rest of our lives, and doing some Social Security, doing some rental income, I think is all going to make out for a pretty decent retirement that I just simply don't have time to be able to produce with, even if I dumped all that money into a TSP or 401k or Roth IRA, something of that nature. It just doesn't have time to compound. But rental income does have time to keep increasing and keep the revenue high enough where I'll be able to catch up with inflation and stay on top of that stuff and not be falling behind every year.
I want to give a shout out to some people tuning in from Instagram. We got Harrison Trade Better on Instagram, and we got Aaron from First Responder Financial Freedom. He was on the other week, but a super funny guy. But he says self-funded pension is better than standard retirement plan. So we also got, let's see, someone had something. Dylan said, yeah, employer retirement program equals employee retention plan. And then Mojo Mindset, Matt says, Dave Ramsey talk. Live like no one else now so you can live like no one else later. Yeah.
When I talk to people at work about the stuff I do on the weekends, people are always telling me, I would never do that. And I just look at it and say, well, you will never have anything more than what you have right now then. Because you're not willing to do anything else. You got to embrace the suck and actually get out there and just hustle every day. It's not, rainbows and sniffing the flowers all weekend and thinking you're going to be able to have anything worth a damn when you're ready to retire.
Yeah, the retirement guy that I met with, he was breaking down. He was projecting out. He said, "Okay, if you continue on this pace, your teacher retirement will be X." I said, "Okay, cool." And then in my head, I'm like, "Okay, so can you tell me if I wanted to retire early? Let's say at 55." and then he ran a little math or whatever, and then he spit the number out. And I didn't want to tell him this in the moment, but it was kind of going on in my head. I'm like, well, when I'm 55, the properties that I have now are going to be paid off. So I'm going to be making way more than what's on the retirement plan just with 2 properties.
Aaron also says someone should build a website with calculators showing benefits and drawbacks. The rules have changed 10 times over my career. Self-directed, Roth, 457, 401k, etc. So I think that's the other part too, right? There's so much. Not only is things changing, taxes change, but what the rules and regulations. So I think that's the confusing part to a lot of people too, right? And a lot of people might be putting money in these accounts, and a lot of times they don't really know what they can and can't do with them, or what the benefits are, or what their drawbacks of withdrawing early or when they can. So to me, that's also the drawbacks of these traditional retirement programs. Is there's so much loopholes and kind of rules and regulations that go along with them. And going back to Aaron's kind of your kind of self-funded pension plan is probably the best way to go, but it is definitely a lot more work, I think, in a sense, right? You kind of the retirement plans are so easy, right? Automatically taken out of your paycheck or whatnot, right? So I think that's a lot of the drawbacks with real estate. It is more work, but like you're saying, right, it's going to be worth it in the end.
So have you guys thought about what you need for retirement?
I need to marry better, that's for sure. You mean, okay, so you're asking to actually completely retire or leave the firehouse or whatnot?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, technically, I could do that now. I could do that now, and I'd be fine. It's more, my son's only 10, so that's kind of the thought process. Is I want to wait a little bit longer to kind of even get a better idea what his plans are going to be. I kind of probably want to get something where he might be going to college in that area, fourplex or something. And even talking about marriage and stuff, but when he turns 18, I can get rid of my biggest expense, but not him, but my son's mom is probably my biggest expense right now.
Yeah, that child support hurts, doesn't it?
Well, this is just being a more than I need to, I guess, in a sense that I'm
Sure.
helping out. So but definitely that would be a big savings there. So but yeah, as of now, I'd be fine. But for me, it's just a little more buffer. But if something, if another pandemic or anything came down the way, then it'd be easy for me to be like, all right, I can walk away, right? So I do have options, but for now, it's kind of just, I still enjoy the firehouse, not as much as when I first got in. So, but, definitely it's going to continue to grow too, right? So the plan is not to just stop, or, where you have a retirement plan too, right? A lot of times you're pulling from the principal. So it's constantly going down in a sense, right? So the plan with the real estate is going to continue to be growing. So, at some point, it's kind of, I would like to get it to at least 20. That would be kind of I'll be really fine with that, right? 20K a month. And then I have my pension kick in at 55 or whatever. And I even looked at Social Security the other day. At 62, I could get 1,000 a month. So it's something. So I have these additional incomes at some point.
How about you, Curtis? What do you think?
Well, what I've learned is if I want to retire early, maybe I shouldn't get married, because that seems to be a holdup for a lot of people. No, but
that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. That'd be another thing. But from talking with Dion and Justin Canberra and those guys, it almost seems like it just needs to be like a multiplier of what the expenses are. But right now I'm having a tough time saying, oh, this is like the number because I'm single. I have no kids. I'm 26, right? So I don't really have an exact like, oh, it has to be 3 times this amount. It'd be nice if it could replace my job now, and then I'd be fine. But just thinking ahead of those future expenses has been kind of tough.
Well, when I ask that question to most people, they come up with a number. A million, 5 million, whatever it is, they usually come up with a number. And Dion hit it right on the head. It's not a number that's a total amount. It is that multiplier from your current expenses. And the more you make, the less that multiplier needs to be. And when your expenses are very low, you might need a higher multiplier. And if I was hitting 10 to 15,000 per month, I would be very happy with that. I wouldn't have any issue, and I don't care what the total number is at the end, because I'm not doing a 4% draw on something. It is a monthly number that the real estate's bringing in every month.
Yeah. Jack says that I have to keep a bathroom if I want to get married because spouses like showers. I like the PTO for life couple, Jeff and Suleika. They house hacked, like I think they're on house hack 9. And so if I can find the person that's open to that'd be great.
They did fantastic at the event in Las Vegas. Actually sat down and had lunch with them, and doing that rent by the room type of situation was very cool. It was interesting. I don't know that that's a scenario or a strategy that I'm going to take up. I like the idea of it. I really do. But, trying to fit that many people into a household, it's hard to find enough bathrooms. I'm sure I could figure out how to build enough bedrooms, but the bathrooms are the bigger obstacle with that type of scenario, I think. So I don't know that that's a strategy I'm going to go after. I kind of like doing the short term rentals. I still manage 9 long term rentals as well for myself and for my family. So it's not like I give up on the long term rentals. I'm just exploring the short term side now, and it's working out pretty well. In addition to what I do with the long term stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, the bathroom part is always the tough part because sometimes you can sneak in like a half bath, but it's really the shower that you need to make sure that you have enough of, right? Because if there's only one, there's 5 people, 6 people in a house. Well, now the bathroom's occupied, so then you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's just a tougher one for me to go into. I kind of like the house hacking, the short term rentals, the long term rentals, all of that type of stuff works out a little bit better for me. I love doing the house hacking myself. I've been doing it for like 13 years with a duplex where I've got one side paying the entire mortgage and cash flowing, so I'm living for free and have been since I've owned it.
Sorry, they just popped in real fast. Hopefully, she didn't hear me talking. But I don't know if you saw Jack says, Curtis, you have to keep a bathroom in your living situation before getting married. Spouses like showers.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think especially, the whole uncertainty in the markets now, the volatility, I think hopefully people are realizing that they want more control over their financial situation or their, whatever their retirement plans are. So I think it's waking a lot of people up to realizing how little control that they have over just putting money in retirement accounts.
Yeah, the Mojo says throw a hot take there that before you get married, make sure you talk about money, so to make sure you're on the same page because 2 incomes can pull the timeline ahead.
I would say make sure they pay for an Uber too. If they don't, yeah,
Uh,
because
having been divorced twice, I would definitely recommend prenups.
Okay.
Yes. And, people get all weird about that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you already have a prenup if you're getting married. It's just whatever laws in the area you're at, whatever's locally the laws for getting divorced are. So, if you can't have that conversation ahead of time about money, you probably shouldn't be getting married in the first place because that's something you should be agreeing on and having some kind of ability to communicate about that kind of stuff.
Thank you. I'm going to clip that part and I'm going to save it for a future date.
well,
Yeah, I'm going to be the bad guy in that conversation for sure.
no, that's I don't know. I think somebody did come out with a dating app, right? There's like a financial, it's like a credit. You have to, I think it's like you have to put your credit score and all these things in. I believe there is one. I thought I saw it on X, but
Really?
That,
Okay.
yeah.
that's how you want to start a relationship right out the gate, right? Yeah, let's talk finances. No, I don't think so.
Hey, you've been divorced twice, so you have no say in this.
That's true. I absolutely have no good track record.
I bet you if you wore Crocs, you would have stayed married.
Well, they probably never would have started dating me in the first place.
Oh man.
Well, they probably thought they were marrying Dave Ramsey. That's why.
Well, I have to ask, Mark, how did that work out for you wearing Crocs? Oh, aren't you divorced?
I'm not. I never was married. I was smart
Oh.
enough not to get married.
Ah, I see.
Let's see. Jack says, find someone that doesn't believe in marriage, and then you don't have to worry about any of the conversations.
All right.
Oh, make a dating app called Just Finances.
Perfect.
Hey, we
Use a
need a
little
moder. We
AI.
need
I'm
a
sure
we
it
need
can
a
write it right
moderator.
up for you.
We need to keep this Matt Mojo guy out of here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. So, Kurtz, are you putting money in a retirement account then?
The pension plan automatically pulls it out. The financial guy, he did make a point that if I did like a 403b, then I could take a loan out against it to purchase things. So that was an interesting take. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I haven't really looked into it. Have either of you heard of that?
No, but that is Lars did mention that not that what you were saying, but the 401k is a source of loans for real estate.
Hmm.
So people that do have money in retirement accounts, there is ways to use it or leverage it to invest in other things. I think for me though, it's more like from the beginning, if you had that choice, would you put it in there? I think people are doing that because they already had money in these accounts and they're just trying to figure out other ways to use it. And yes, there's some loopholes. So I think that's the struggle. But from the beginning, a lot of people would probably be like, I'd rather not deal with all these other headaches
Hmm.
and just put it in real estate. So I think that's where I would be now if I was a lot younger and starting over and, with the information I have now. And even of my next question was going to be like the pension plan. Do you think if you had the choice, would you automatically want that pension plan, or would you rather have that money they're taking out to invest on your own?
So if I had the choice, I would want it, but you don't have a choice. As soon as you're employee, you're put into it. Now you can choose what type of plan, but as soon as you get the job, you go into the state registry thing, and then you're stuck there. Um, Now he did say at some point down the line, if I wanted more control, I could move the money. It's like he called it a lateral transfer, where I take it from the state pension plan to a 401k or 403b or something like that for no penalty. However, I wouldn't get a guaranteed income at a certain age.
John, any thoughts? If you had a pension plan, would you rather have that money in a sense if you had that choice? Do you think do you think pension plans are good, I guess, in a sense?
I do have a pension plan working for the base, and I like the fact that we've got the pension plan because it's just another source of income. So when I retire, I want to have that pension plan. I want to have the Social Security, and I want to have multiple sources of rental income coming in as well. So there's some diversity there where I'm not completely dependent on one source. And as far as the retirement plan stuff, um, I when I was more into the Dave Ramsey thought process, I did take it up to 15%, and I think that was a mistake. So I actually pulled it back down to just exactly what they are matching. That way, I'm getting more on my paycheck to be able to apply towards doing some more rental income, trying to get enough of a nest egg built up for the next purchase. So definitely don't recommend not investing in that retirement plan, because if they're matching it, you're leaving money on the table. But I wouldn't do.
So you don't agree with Dion's point of, in a sense, where it's not free money, or yeah, he says it's not free money, right?
I completely agree with it. It's not free money because it's part of your compensation package. If you didn't have that going into a retirement plan, it would have been on your paycheck. So it's basically a retention plan, like some of the messaging we've had on here was talking about. It is 100% a retention plan. They don't really care about your retirement. They care about keeping you employed there as long as possible.
What was my next question I was going to ask?
Well,
No,
I have one. What do you do with the nest egg of cash in between deals? Where do you guys put it while it grows, or do you just leave it in like a general bank account?
High yield savings account. That puts it approximately a 4% interest rate on it, which is not great, but at least it's gaining a whole lot better than what like a savings account would be, which is next to nothing. So that's where I've been putting it. There's probably better places to put it, and I'm sure there's much smarter people than I am in the comment section here that could tell you better places to put it. But that's just where I've been putting it, is in the high yield savings account.
yeah, that's pretty much it right now. I mean, there's not. I mean, it depends how early you start, right? A lot of people do the insurance, the the life insurance, and borrow off of that, But that's something you have to build over time. So it's not, when you're getting started and trying to build your real estate portfolio, a lot of times you're not having. It's kind of just another funnel, right? But it takes time to build up that principal that you can borrow off of. So it's an option, but the high yield savings to me is just the easiest currently, right, to use and access. So especially since the rates are at where they're at right now. Yeah, the high yield. Aaron says, sorry, high yield savings fluctuates wildly. So let's see what else.
Currently, my options are not even really trying to find a new property right at the moment. I'm trying to optimize the properties I have. So I'm trying to get that ADU going and in the bottom of the short-term rental, and I'm working with contractors right now trying to get a scope of work put together so we can get a bid on it. And I'm putting all the money I can together to be able to fund building that downstairs. And I will be taking a loan against my TSP, which will be at a 4% rate, but that rate is money that goes back to myself. It's not interest rate going to a bank or somebody else.
Yeah, Aaron says they're all tools in a toolbox. Definitely have different tools for different times. Yeah, and I think that's the one thing, why maybe most of us kind of like the real estate aspect of things. There's just so many options for us, right? And you guys are touching on, I think, rent by room, because I think someone commented rent by room. John's doing the Airbnb or short term rentals. Curtis is the house hacking, right? So there's a lot of options available to us, right? So looks like Hyder's buying a new truck or a truck. Hopefully a work truck. Yeah. Andy says, yeah, you hate to speak of that, but my oldest son has like 2 years left of vet school, and we've had the prenuptial talk with him because he wants to house hack and also real estate invest. Yeah, things not the same 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I keep forgetting what my next question was going to be. Yeah, it was something about the pension plan. When it comes up, let's see.
Mark, do you think you'll ever get married again and need to use a prenuptial plan?
I never was married, so I didn't do. You apparently haven't learned and just keep trying. Someday. I'll never say never, but
Never say never. Absolutely.
definitely prenuptial. But I forget someone. There was someone on X that had a great view on it. I think, or different view. They were kind of in a sense where if you get separated, the money is going to be divided into like I can't even charities. So no one really wins. No one gets the money in a sense. So it's kind of like the assets are divided up and it's given to charity. So it's almost like it's forcing you to work things out or resolve your issues.
Huh.
Yeah. I forgot. I'm probably off a little bit, but it was something to that extent to where it's, not making it in a sense easy for people to get separated and then go their separate ways and take assets or whatnot. So this is almost like kind of let's try to resolve this and work on it and figure things out. Yeah.
Certainly a different take. I've never heard of that one before.
Me neither.
Oh, you guys got to get on X, man. Get informed out there.
I don't have time to sit around all day in my Crocs and listen to X.
Well, okay. Oh, you know what? So how did you? No. So how did you? No, that was actually this. Like I said, I keep forgetting, but it was. How did you come up with this question, or why has it been on your mind? And even Curtis, like, so when you guys talk to other people you work with, that like both of you have like these pensions, like you're saying pension plans, and these people that have pension plans, like how is these conversations going, and do you think they're hearing you when you're talking about these other things or concerns?
No, they're not hearing at all. They they have a very common type of attitude that oh, we're doing pretty good, whatever. And you know, if you actually talk to them, most of these folks are just renting. They don't even have a primary for themselves, and you know that they're not going to be in a great spot when it comes to getting to an age where they have to retire because they physically can't work anymore. And they might have something put away in a retirement plan, but they just haven't been a good steward with their money for their entire lives. And it's kind of sad to see. But then on the other hand, I had a lady in the tool room that her husband had died at like 70 years old at the base, and she still was working in the tool room. And I asked her why she didn't retire, and she said, "Well, I have nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, so why not still work?" And it was just such a sad type of mentality to look at, that that her work was the biggest thing in her life to look forward to.
Mhm.
What about you, Curtis? Talking to coworkers, I guess, or even for you, you're a lot younger, so like even talking to maybe your circle or some friends you hang out with, like, do they hear what you're talking about?
Yeah, so in the teaching job, there's only a few young teachers at my school. Unfortunately, there's a lot of older folks, but the blessing there is I kind of get to see into the future.
Who are you calling old, or what is old though to you?
Well, I'm gonna say old. I'm gonna say older, so that way I don't offend my audience here. But older, I guess. And there's this one guy. He's like on the bubble of retirement, and when him and I talk, he's definitely a millionaire, probably close to multi at this point, just with him and his wife. And I'm like, man, why are you still working? Like, you gotta figure this out, but it's because it's all tied to the stocks and the up and downness, and he's watching it, and so at least once a week we talk about it. Like, okay, how many more years? Because for for the way that our retirement is, it's based on years and like your income, and there's this whole like equation, right? Well, he's capped on the year, so there's nothing he can do there. So it's just him trying to get his income up, but we're just trying to talk, and he's just kind of stuck in watching the stock market. And so every time it goes up or down, we always have a conversation about it. Um, and it's very interesting to hear everyone's perspectives. Now, he's close enough to the age that he could probably be fine. However, the people that are in like their late 40s, even if they're capped on the years, they're too young to take the retirement. So like, I don't know what I would do for the next 10 years until I can get the full thing. And so to me, that was like sad. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're stuck in this spot where you have no option. You have to go to work for, and then just watching them, like, it's almost like a jail. Like, okay, how many more years do you have left in?
Yeah, I think that's the scary part is people put it at a like an age,
Mhm.
right? Or even like John was talking about earlier, like a set number, right? Like either whether it be 2 million I need. So I think that's the scary part is that's how people are looking at their retirement, right? Like I have to get to this certain point and not really looking at it as far as, even like cash flow, inflation, and what their expenses are and things like that. So that's what's great about this community, right? I think a lot of people are looking at things a lot different and trying to help people, and hopefully, I think John, was there one person you said your coworker that kind of was watching your YouTube channel, or they're kind of following what you were doing and maybe starting to head in a different direction? I forgot if that was you.
No, the people I've shared with at work think that my channel is completely boring. They don't care about real estate or finances or any of that kind of stuff at all.
Your wife's sister or someone said you're YouTube famous now, right? Who said that?
Yeah, we went and did breakfast with my wife's sister this morning, and she was teasing me because I had to get back to the house so I could do this podcast. And she's all, "Oh, you're YouTube famous." Like, no, I have like 30 people on my channel. I'm not famous whatsoever.
Oh, that we gotta start somewhere though, right? I mean that will get you to 50, right? So that's the next goal.
Well, yeah, so I can start doing some lives because, even like right now, we're doing this wonderful podcast that I find very interesting. I hope everybody else does as well, but I can't even put it to my own channel because I can't do the live thing yet.
Hint, hint to people that are listening. If you have not subscribed to John's channel, it's posted earlier in the chat. If you can go subscribe, Deconstructing Dreams, go help him out so he can get to 50 subscribers, so he can connect his channel for the next live. Yeah, I don't know what else you guys working on. You guys want to keep talking about this? Anything else you guys working on? You want to discuss?
Truthfully, I'm jealous of Curtis, with all the amount of time he's got and future things he's got going on, he's got time to make the moves and be able to retire at a very young age and have a wonderful life looking forward to doing, everybody talks about it as financial freedom. I don't look at it as freedom. It's options. You have the option to work or not work. You have the option to do things that you're passionate about. And, when you're in a job, you don't have that option. You have the option to get your butt to work every day or you're getting fired. And, I would love to be in Curtis's position where he's got the right mindset. He's learning the right things. He's getting around the right people. And, had I done that at that age, I would have been retired for 20, 30 years by now. So, good job to you, bud.
Thanks. Well, it's because people like you and Mark and everybody that wants to pass down the knowledge and the expertise that I can kind of get a head start a little bit.
What do you mean, man? We're like the same age.
Well,
I'm not that much older than you.
no. I mean, you still got time to hit your growth spurt. So,
Well, John, looks like Matt Mojo Mindset subscribed to your channel. So, and since he subscribed to yours, go check out his also, Mojo Mindset on YouTube. I'll put it down there. So, he's been slacking on YouTube, but he's trying to build up his followers also. He hasn't been posting as much about Tesla. I think he's worried about someone vandalizing his vehicle. So maybe that's why his content has been slowed a little bit.
As much as all that Tesla stuff is in the news, we got Teslas all over the place. We got a plant here for Tesla that everybody works at, and I haven't heard or seen a single, vandalism or people burning a car or anything like that anywhere. It's kind of crazy how the news just makes a bigger deal out of things than it really probably is.
Looks like Hyder says, wow, not even 24 hours yet, and he replaced my broken truck. Love the hustle. Mojo Mindset, he ain't selling. He watched on YouTube how to change the Tesla emblem though. He put like a Toyota emblem on his Tesla. It's crazy times out there. But I think people that have been doing this for a few years, right? They're well ahead, or not. I mean, I definitely pay a lot more attention probably to the noise than you folks as far as it's entertaining. But I think the fact that a lot of this community, they're taking their finances into their own hands, they're in a lot better position. They're not worried so much about the stock market fluctuations as much as other people who that's their sole retirement plan.
So are you guys letting the political environment, the tariffs, all of that kind of stuff, sway you one way or another with your investing and how your feelings are towards the future?
Well, if these gas prices keep going up, I don't know what money I'll have to invest. It seems like every day I'm paying for gas. But no, not too concerned about it. There's a few bills here in Washington that could possibly make management a little bit more difficult. Like we have a rent control on the ballot. Sorry, not the ballot. It's in the House at the moment. We have a property taxing that could like triple property taxes, and there's a few other things. So I'm more just like watching it so I can help plan the next steps.
Yeah, just to Curtis's point, right? I think that's the thing. You don't have to, go down the rabbit holes or, but paying attention to it is important because it kind of gives you an idea of what policies might be coming down the road or how it may affect you. But to Curtis's point too, and I think Dion talks about it quite a bit too. So a lot of those things that may pass or get implemented would just probably help you in a sense because you already invest in these markets, and probably would keep a lot of new investors or new people out of those areas, right? Because they're gonna be like, oh, if property taxes triple, or if they're rent control, I'm not going to invest in these markets. So it's going to benefit those that are already there in a sense, right? So I think it's just paying attention just so that you can have an idea, especially what's happening in your market. But at the same time, it just kind of makes you, I think for me, it just makes me more aware of why I need to be more in control of my own finances. And it just makes me see how both sides are just corrupt and how both sides are not looking out for the people, right? And both sides are just kind of, you know, helping the wealthy in a sense, right? So for me, it's I want to get to that point to where I don't have to worry about none of this nonsense that's going on, right?
For me, I just don't subscribe to all this fear porn. You know, whether it's media or whether it's hate or discontent and all that kind of stuff. It's a great way to get viewership and subscribers and all that kind of stuff, but it just never has really mattered to me that much. And you know, Dion talks a lot about how there's only a couple things that tell you whether you're ready to invest, and it has nothing to do with all of that kind of garbage. It's more about have you done the work to find a good deal that's better than just your average deal in your area, and are you actually ready to invest with not having life events and changing jobs and marriages and kids and things like that, and divorces, and changing your job, or having some kind of sickness going on. Any of those types of things would kind of knock you out of there. And then you got your preparation side of having a good credit score, having good DTI, having enough money put together for your down and your closing costs and your reserve money and renovations, all of those types of things. So that's going to tell you if you're actually ready or not. So between the two things, it just seems like that's all I'm going to concentrate on. I'm not going to worry about all this other static that's in the background.
See, most people just say divorce. You said divorces. But Aaron from Instagram said the next market strain will be caused by insurance requirements, property taxes, and extreme HOAs. And yeah, so that to the point of where I think that's how also you got to kind of know your strategy or your situation. And I think Curtis talked on it, maybe the last time he was on, about the investor he had coffee with, how he's not he doesn't even have insurance on his properties now. He has these paid off properties, and his strategy is he's just putting money aside for extreme measures or any catastrophes, but he doesn't even want to deal with insurance companies anymore. So that's that person's strategy, right? So yeah, you just start looking at different ways to either be more efficient at what you're doing, or even just, and that would be that kind of changed my kind of mindset too. Is maybe initially you're kind of like, I just want to leverage. I'm never going to pay off properties. I know Dion's talking, we always always have it financed now, right? But now with insurance, it's kind of like maybe I don't even want to deal with these companies to some extent, right?
I like the stuff Dion talks about as far as mitigating that liability by, first of all, being a good steward of your property and not being a slumlord. That's number one. Try actually repairing your property and having a decent place to live for your people. And, having the good homeowners insurance, having an umbrella insurance, and having a mortgage on there. So you got the bank's lawyers to help you fight anything that might come up. I really like that strategy a lot, but I could see the allure of doing basically a self-insured type of situation. That sounds pretty cool as well. If you had that type of income where you could actually replace a property or whatever, but I think I would still be nervous with that, with not having the insurance for the liability side of it in case you got sued.
Yeah, I'm not sure on how Thatch does his, but when I've been listening to a few of his podcasts or his talks, is he talks about paying properties off but then he also talks about having an umbrella policy and growing that umbrella as you grow. So I'm not sure exactly on how he sets his up though.
Yeah, I think you're still gonna have liability coverage. It's just not gonna have the on the house in a sense where like if you had a fire or something, right? You're not gonna try to deal with them to get it replaced. Either you're just gonna sell the land, or you're just gonna use your own funds to rebuild, right? So, like you're saying, John, not everyone has that finances, but I think that's how people are starting to change their strategy or look at things differently. Like maybe it's okay to have some paid off properties, right? You know, just for that safety measure. But it looks like you're getting some subscribers. Flavio, who's I think close to you, Curtis, right? He's in.
Yeah, probably maybe 2-3 hours away. Yeah.
Yeah. So Flavio, and he joined school. So thanks for that, Flavio. I saw that you joined school.
Yes, thank you,
John,
Flavio.
and so John will get you to join school also. You got to join us there, man.
If I could actually get on the lives, I probably would, but almost everything I do is in Futureland because I'm busy working, not sitting around in my Crocs.
Well, I'm still out. I got to see the doctor tomorrow on my follow up on my MRI, so I'll find out more tomorrow.
Are you going to have surgery?
Well, I'll find out tomorrow. So I had the MRI the other week, so I'll get more information tomorrow and see. So hopefully, I'm out for a little while longer. That's the plan. Hopefully.
Hauling hoses was a little too rough on you, huh?
No, I was using the gurney, the ambulance gurney.
And then
Okay.
you ended up on it.
Yeah. No. But yeah. Yeah. What else you guys want to chat on? Anything now, man? Anything? Wrap it up.
Well, I can certainly say that being a heavy equipment mechanic was too rough on me, so I had to go for an office job. I just got my annual review and got the highest review I've ever had in my life. It was outstandings across the board on every element. So I'm pushing hard for the next promotion, hoping for June.
These are like the exact text messages that I get from you about how great you're doing. Your reviews are amazing. How Crocs are terrible. This is the text message I receive from you all the
Well,
time.
I'm sorry, Mark. I'm excited to share positive things in my life.
No, I love it, man. I'm glad.
I feel very blessed. I can tell you that much.
Well, I guess I had a special Saturday live in the later or afternoon for you folks because it's been a while. So I got you and Curtis on. So Curtis knows about all the
I had to
shenanigans.
throw you a bone. You were begging me to get back on the show.
Oh, what do you mean begging you?
Actually, I was very happy to get your text.
I know you're like so excited. I'm gonna pop in 15 minutes early. I want to make sure my audio works and my camera works. I'm like, all right, good. I like that.
Well, hey, the last guy that was having audio problems, you just kicked him off the show, and you're not letting him back till he fixes it.
Oh, I just actually met. He said he's busy. He hasn't fixed anything yet because he's working.
Okay.
So it's not. I can only
overload financial firefighter.
Let's see. Lars says, yeah, he's at his new job, so he says he loves it so far. So Lars did take a new job. He says he finally got it after going for this position for 7 years. So yeah, congrats, Lars. Lars is, if anyone doesn't know, he's pivoting. He's in the Pittsburgh. He's going to invest in Pittsburgh now, and he has something under contract. And they were just waiting on the sewer scope, and he finally got that back, and it looks like everything's a go. So yeah, it looks like he's moving forward on that one.
Is everybody going to Pittsburgh? Jeez.
What is that?
So is everybody going to the Pittsburgh area?
Well, not everyone. I tell everyone, I don't really like tell people like you should come to if people do want to pivot, then I'm an open book and anyone can reach out. So Lars, Lars was he was in Delaware investing and he was having difficulty finding things. And, after Vegas, he considered pivoting. And then so he connected with some people that we use over there. And, he decided to move forward. So, even like Harrison is pivoting. He's probably going to be um, looking in the pits. He's looking at stuff now, but he was having difficulty in Ohio finding things that made sense for him. So, because there's more of us in Pittsburgh, I think he's gonna pivot to that area. So yeah, and then yeah, it's a good market. I mean, it's you just there is older homes. That's the one thing you kind of gotta get over. Oh yeah, Lars he lived in Pittsburgh also. Yeah, Jason, thanks for tuning in. Jason is paired right now, so I think he might be from Curtis's channel. But he
Yep.
says yes, let's go to Pittsburgh. Jason, if you didn't hear, I don't know if you did. If you can subscribe to John's channel, also, it looks like he might be at 38 subscribers. Someone is saying right now, so hopefully, maybe we can get him to 40. Oh, his battery died. See, I gotta kick him off already. He didn't charge it. There he is, or he has an Android maybe. But are you
Hey,
there?
easy. Don't hate on the androids.
Are you there, John? You keep popping in and out on my screen.
Yeah, I'm back. My mother was trying to call and I hung up on her so that I could finish the live here.
I thought one of your ex-wives might have been calling.
Well,
I don't know. What do you guys want to
spoke
wrap
with
it
her
up
last
with?
night, so I'm sure there's nothing super important yet.
Jason said he's already subbed to your channel. So all right. So yeah. Anything else?
Thank you,
Any
Jason.
final words you guys want to say before we sign off? What you guys working on? What you guys got going on for Easter weekend?
My family, we actually did Easter last week. We had a little birthday Easter all in one last week. So today, just taking more of the practice tests to get my license and
Oh
see-
yeah. Come join us at EXP. Oh, Troy's tuning in. So what's up, Troy? Yeah, we're gonna be signing off soon, but thanks for joining in. Yeah, all the Bears family showed up then. Chicago Bears family side.
I don't know with what you're talking about.
No, well, right. Your uncle played
Yeah.
for the Bears. Did that side of the family show, or was that?
No, that fam, that's not a fam. They're all on the East Coast.
Easter plans for you, John? Easter weekend? What is he doing? He's gone again.
He keeps getting phone calls.
Just going to church. Yeah, my
All right,
mom's
so-
saying, yeah, it was nothing important. Just give her a call when I get a chance. But yeah,
So
I'm
now-
just
so,
heading
right-
to church this afternoon.
All right, so John, now we, like I tell everyone, come on my channel, practice, work on there. So now we got to remember, turn off notifications maybe when you're on the lives or something, right? So that way, if someone calls or anything, then it won't interrupt because right now your audio is all messed up on my side. I don't know if anyone else can tell, but because you're getting those, I think it's messing with your connection.
I'm going to be fixing that by getting an actual camera and mic for my computer.
Oh, all right. Okay. See? All right. All right. Yeah. Well, this was always fun. I'm glad I
I
got
don't
you guys
want to
on.
get kicked off Mark's channel.
I would never kick you off, man. You almost got me kicked out of the ORAD event, but I would never get you.
I had nothing to do with that.
You make
who
so much
brought up-
noise.
Who brought up tips and who mispronounced it as something else?
Not me.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
you, but who was that?
It was Dwayne, but Dwayne's a cool
Okay.
guy. Yeah, Dwayne's a funny guy. See that? Yeah, Jack is saying the audio isn't synchronized. So, I think when you get those calls and then it kind of glitches for a while, but yeah, it's all good. I mean, are you going to be working the door? If anyone doesn't know, John was one of the helpers at the event. He worked the door. He's very strict and wasn't letting people in without proper identification. So the frugal gay was very upset that nobody knew who he was and he couldn't get in. Oh, see, you guys, Ike is here. He's still here. He said, "You won't let me on because of my audio, but you allow this."
You see?
Well, Ike, I let the senior citizens have a little more leeway. They're a little bit technically challenged, so I allow that.
Well, I appreciate it because you're right. I am technically challenged, and I've got enough revenue coming in this month from the short-term rental that I'm going to buy a better system for you.
Cool. Yeah. Wow. They said, yeah, just test it out. That's what I'm here for. Test out your audio, your mics, or whatever you want to use. It's always fun. I always enjoy having you folks on that are willing to do it. So, Ike, we'll get you back on at some point.
Well, you see, my battery didn't die this time.
Well, that's a plus, right? Well, hopefully, yeah. Let me know how much subscribers. Hopefully, we got you. It sounds like we got you a few subscribers, so we'll get you to 50 soon. And yeah, thanks
Absolutely,
everyone.
and I appreciate everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. And I'll do some lives next week, and hopefully everyone's having fun and getting some good information out of this. All right, everyone, have a great Easter weekend.
Happy
Thanks, guys.
Easter.